Computer. Okay, well, welcome. Hello, everyone, to another episode of Supercharged Sunday with me, Emily McHugh, your supercharged business coach and host. And I help new entrepreneurs build sustainable businesses and avoid burnout. And in order to avoid burnout, we supercharge. So today I am happy and thrilled to have with us another fantastic supercharger, Ms. Veronica Kolibab. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you so much, Emily. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. I've known Veronica for a number of years. She's a consummate networker, entrepreneur of many different areas and interests and integrated skills. And so you're going to hear some wonderful tips from a lovely, delightful person today who is full of energy, vibrant, and just the epitome of what supercharging is all about. So I'm thrilled to have Veronica join us. So Veronica, today we're supercharging your eating. That's our topic. And the title of your talk is Eating to Live versus Living to Eat. And how to eat gluten, dairy, sugar free deliciously. And you're an integrative coach. So Veronica, tell us about how you got into becoming an integrative coach and about the topic you're talking about today.
Well, that's a really interesting, I've always been holistic, and several years ago, probably over a decade ago, I had gotten really sick, like burning out, like what we're talking about here, not burning yourself out. And I literally burnt myself out, and I had the worst form of candida in the stomach, worse than albicans, and it was just not, it was exhausting. Like no matter how much you sleep, no matter how much sleep I got, I was exhausted the next day. The joints hurt, the brain was foggy. There were so many things that were wrong and no one could figure it out. And my holistic person actually figured out what was going on. And it forced me to adhere to a ridiculously strict diet because I had refused to take the medication. I'm not a fan of medications. And the diflucan, I like my liver intact. So I didn't want to take that medication. So my program ended up being this year-long, intensive, long list of absolutely no, you cannot eat these things or drink these things, and a very short list of what I could eat. And so I had to get creative pretty quickly. And I could not have gluten, I could not have dairy, no sugar of any kind. I'm talking about no fruit, nothing that converted to sugar. So no carbohydrates, no potatoes, no sweet potatoes. The only vinegar I could have was apple cider vinegar. No caffeine, no alcohol. The list was so long. No citric acid, which is in everything that you buy. Wow. And I remember, and I'll never forget it, being in the grocery store. Like I just looked around and the tears just came out of my eyes because I cannot eat anything in this store. I can't just buy it and eat it. Mm-hmm. I would have to take it home, prepare it. You know what I mean? If you're starving on that kind of a diet, you're just so in trouble if you're not prepared. You know? So it was that infliction that actually created my passion. So like everything happens exactly as it's supposed to happen. So I became in love with food and healthy eating, and how can I make this taste better? How can I take gluten-free and take it away from this cardboard stereotype nastiness into something that people are like, oh my gosh, this is so delicious. Or dairy-free, trying every non-dairy product imaginable to find things that were actually palatable and good. Because when we eat cheese, those of us who love cheese to this day, I would eat cheese if I could. I love cheese, but I just can't have it. So I found things that are compatible to dairy that will make this journey so much easier that they didn't have 10, 15 years ago when I was trying to eat certain way, Yeah. So that's what happened there. And then this just divine intervention comes. I call myself recipe intuitive because I'll get ideas that'll come divinely, or I can look at a recipe you give me and convert it to sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, a lot of times grain-free. And my foods are just ridiculous. It comes through me You know what I mean? It's not me. It's a gift that's been given to me to be able to help other people, and it's a blessing.
Well, Veronica, this is quite intriguing because it's really an alternative way of eating so that people don't feel stuck, because you seem like you had these extreme situations, and when you have such confines and strictures within which you're working, it forces you to get very creative, which is clearly what you've done. So it's very exciting to see how you've been able to come up with these delicious recipes in spite of, and the beauty of it is that a lot of people think that things can't taste good if they're good for you. That is a fallacy that a lot of people have. And one thing I can say myself as a vegetarian, I know for a fact that my food tastes really good. And it makes sure, because it's not mutually exclusive. I think it's just a mindset people fall into. So we're so intrigued to hear too from you, Veronica, what you do to make the food taste good, how you go about these alternative things. And so do you want to kind of go through it? Like, I know it's gluten, dairy, sugar free. Do you want to like deal with gluten and dairy and sugar? How do you want to break it down for us?
We can go into that. And I mean, first of all, I do want to mention that, in this day and age, we're finding more and more, my doctor said I can't have this. My
Yeah.
doctor said I can't have dairy. My doctor said I can't have gluten. I can't have sugar, whatever that looks like. And, 74% of the population is overweight or obese. And it's a heartbreaking statistic, right?
74%.
74% of the population is overweight or obese. It's a staggering statistic.
Yeah.
So my mission is huge because I don't think people understand sugar. And everybody goes, oh, it's the fat making you fat. It's not the fat making you fat. It's not the fat making you fat. Oh, it's the carbs making you fat. It's not really the carbs making you fat. It's the kind of things that you're eating. So you and I are similar in way. Like, I am not a vegetarian, but I am in love with vegetables and fruit. And when I go to the grocery store, 85% of my cart is vegetables and fruit. And the other small percentage is proteins that I like to eat that also are organic. You know what I mean? I'm really funny about the food that I put in my body, which I feel everyone should be, because it's like
Absolutely.
that. When you have the stove, okay, let's just take the car or the stove, and you have the wood burning stove, and you throw in this crappy wood, and now you have all this ash and smoke, and it doesn't burn right. Same with your car. You put crappy gas in the car, and the car doesn't run right. You have to service it more often, and your body is the same exact way. When you put the good fuel into the body, the real food, folks, real food, not in a box or a bag or a can, like real food. The more real food we eat, the more efficient our body works, right? The better our mind works, the better our stomach works, the better everything works when we put real food in there. So the integrative nutrition health coaching part, like, again, I was so much in love with the food, and I've been doing videos on and off for a long time, trying to help people learn how to do stuff. And I finally said, I'm just going to go to school, and I'm just going to do this. But as an integrative nutrition health coach, it's an all-encompassing. It's not just food. So it's everything that we consume. So we consume food, we consume drinks, we consume energy, we consume things that we see and things that we hear. So everything that we put into our body, things that we touch, right? All of the things that we consume affect our health.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes. And so, smell.
Yeah, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's all connected. Spiritually. What's your spiritual practice like? It doesn't matter if you're religious or not religious. Do you have a spiritual connection to something higher than yourself? And all of that integrativeness is what makes integrative nutrition health coaching. And I don't coach people individually. Like, I will very selectively coach people individually, but they have to be people that are serious about wanting to be coached. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that, oh, I hope that you feel better today. That's not me. I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Chop, chop, let's go, right? It's time. We're going to move on to the next, we accept it. We know it happened. We're going on, boom. What are we doing to correct, self-correct? Let's move forward. Those are the people that I would coach personally.
Right.
But back to the food with sugar, years ago, people, say like 100 years ago, people didn't consume 20 pounds of sugar in a year. And now the average person is consuming about 220 pounds of sugar in a year.
Wow.
And if there's a really great documentary movie that I believe everyone on the planet should watch. And it's called That Sugar Film. And it is on Amazon Prime. I believe it's on Netflix. You can find it on YouTube. It's called That Sugar Film. And it's a man, and he goes through this process, kind of like the Super Size Me guy did with his documentary on the McDonald's epidemic, with how he got really sick. And it was the same premise, but he went from being a vegan to showing people, like, he put his body through this for a certain determined, it was like a couple month period of time, where he ate the healthy diet, which is 26 teaspoons of sugar a day in hidden sugar. So people don't realize all the hidden sugar that's everywhere. So 26 teaspoons a day, let me put that into perspective. The American Heart Association says women no more than 6 teaspoons a day for all sources, and men no more than 9 teaspoons. So 26 teaspoons a day coming from hidden sugar in your coffee creamer, in your yogurt, in all these things you think are so healthy for you, your granola. This is not the Coca-Cola drinkers or the people that are just eating, cupcakes and cookies all day. 26 hidden grams of sugar is a healthy eater's diet. Your protein shakes, all the places that they're hiding the sugar. So what happens is the liver can't process all of this sugar, doesn't know what to do with it all. So it's throwing it out into the body as triglycerides, which is fat. So now all of a sudden your body's accumulating all of this fat. And where does it generally accumulate? It's around the midsection. So now you have this visceral fat around your stomach, which is the single most dangerous fat of all. So I think everyone should watch, and it's a 2-hour documentary. It's very entertaining, like really, really entertaining. So you'll learn something, you'll laugh, you'll be wowed at the same time, but it's a quick education in how much sugar are you actually consuming in your diet every day.
Wow, that's so amazing. And it's awareness and just coming to terms with the reality of what the intake is. And what you said before about the efficient use, I just wanted to point back to what you mentioned, that by eating real food, the body can more efficiently use it. So real food is like right off the tree, right off the ground. Tell me if you would amplify real food with a classification of real food.
Yes. So if it's coming from nature, if it was once alive, if it's still alive, it's real food. Okay. So fruits, vegetables, mushrooms, if you can eat them. There's a lot of things they talk about medicinal mushrooms. But if you have candida, you can't have mushrooms. But I buy all organic proteins, chicken or beef. It's got to be organic. I do wild caught seafood. If I'm eating seafood, I do wild caught seafood. I do organic eggs, like real food. If I buy something in a box, it's very rare, and it's usually some kind of a flour, like comes in a bag, will be almond flour or cashew flour. I don't buy processed foods with a bunch of crap in them because they're not real food. Your body has no idea how to process that. It's not, and notice too, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me that who are running through your day, oh my gosh, I have to run through my day, so I'm eating this crap just because I feel like I have to satiate myself. But what's happening is that you're not satiating yourself at all. Your body is starving and you're not taking in any nutrients from that food. So you wonder why you're always hungry, okay? Or you're up with your energy and then you have the crash, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's not real food. If you eat real food, your body sustains that throughout the day. When you feel hungry, you're actually hungry. Like, oh, my body, like I'll eat in the morning, have some gluten-free toast, maybe with avocado on it or something like that, or oats. And when my body burns that up, it's right around lunchtime. And my body goes, hey, I'm hungry. And I go, okay, cool. Let's eat some more real food, some chicken salad or egg salad or something that will be real food that will satiate that hunger and it'll take me to the next step. Now, you as a vegetarian, I'm sure you prep and you said that you have food to eat throughout the day. How do you notice your hungers throughout the day? Because you do eat real food.
Well, the thing for me is I don't get hungry that easily. I find that when I'm either busy working or something, I can forget to eat, which is not good. And then I'll eat in the evening. So I mainly have breakfast. I'll have shakes or smoothies. I drink quite a bit of smoothies. And then I'll have lunch, maybe or not, but then I'll have a dinner. But I tend to have a regular eating. I'm not giving a good example, but I will tell you this. It's being aware of what you should do and then actually doing it. So like, I know I should maybe have an apple, but if I feel for a cookie, I'll eat my cookie. But here's the thing. I do not have cookies in my house all the time. Let me put it that way. So the time that it's there, okay, I might have my cookie, but it's not always there, always snacking on a cookie. Absolutely not. And of course, offsetting it with using the calories as well, like burning them up.
We're going to touch on that too, because I'm going to tell you right now, nobody's diet is perfect, right? So you say you eat the cookie. I think people should eat the cookie. I think you should make your own cookies. And you know what's in a cookie. And if you ate my cookies, you'd be like, oh my God, these are so delicious. I got to have more of these cookies, right? It's about what we eat. But what you said something profound, that you're not hungry. I mean, there are people who fast, like one of our doctors in the clinic fasts all day. He doesn't eat anything until 6 p.m. There's nothing wrong with that. It works for his body, right? But because your body has cleaner eating, you are less hungry less often. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Everybody's body's so different. And that's the other part of integrative nutrition, is that we are all unique individuals. What is good for me might not be good for you. One man's food is another man's poison. Some people are allergic to, my mother's allergic to walnuts, definitely allergic to walnuts. So everybody's body is so incredibly different. Some people do really good not eating breakfast. Sometimes I don't eat breakfast. Sometimes I eat breakfast. If I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. And I don't have a problem eating the same thing several days. So if I make a chicken or an egg salad or tuna salad or something, and I'll make a batch of it, and I will section it into 4 or 5 containers. And I could eat that same thing for lunch every day, because I don't live to eat, right? I mean, I eat to live. If I want to eat something healthy, I have food prepped, I eat it. I don't care that I ate the same thing 3 days in a row for lunch. I don't care. I don't live to eat. My body just gets satiated. I have something that nourishes me, and I'm good. I'm not about, oh my gosh, I have to have the trendy food. It has to be different every day. No, girl.
Yeah. And also the hydration, that's the key too. I have to add that to it, that even if you go without the food, you certainly need to drink. And I'm not talking about drinking sodas. I do not drink sodas. I do not drink anything like that. It's waters, it's either pure juices, as I said, the smoothies. So you want to really drink as pure things as you can. And speaking of which, I'm a little thirsty right now. We have
I know I had my tea.
And through Zooms, let me just insert this, people. On Zoom, somehow, you get on here and you're talking, you get thirsty. So you always want to have water handy to keep hydrated while you're doing your meetings and so forth. Just a little tip in there. But tell us more about the title, Veronica. So eating to live versus living to eat. Amplify that for us some more.
Yeah, it's pretty much like what I was saying about eating like the same kind of foods. So when I prep, I do a lot of meal prep, and I will make, maybe 4 chicken thighs with like a nice Thai sauce or something that I make myself, because I watch all the sauces with sugars and things like that. I try to stay away from that. So I will prepare all different foods, and I'm actually going to be teaching a prep class, because I feel like a lot of people really don't know how to prep efficiently. You don't have to spend your entire weekend prepping if you do it the right way. So your first initial prep is a lot, but then you just kind of it's a maintenance, and you keep rotating in your freezer with different things. So what I do is I will always have something prepared. So the next day, like tonight, I can take stuff out of the freezer, put it in the fridge. Even oats, you can cook a big vat of oats and section them off and freeze them. And then you pull them out, you heat them up, put your whatever kind of milk, your non-dairy milk or whatever on there. And I could have 10 different breakfasts with oatmeal 10 days in a row. Just mix different things into it. So that's what it's like. Eating to live is just eating the things that are going to nourish the body, not going, oh my gosh, look at that huge chocolate lava cake that I have to have. And I need that, lobster with the 7 pounds of butter. And I need my herb crusted, even though we can make that stuff really healthy, when you go out to the restaurant, there's sugar, there's white flour, there's all kinds of crap in everything. And is it delicious? Absolutely. Oh my God, yes. And I'm not saying never go out, support local restaurants, but monitor what you're eating, right? When I go out to a local restaurant, I eat my same way that I do at home. And I go to the places that can accommodate that. And there's a lot of great local restaurants that will accommodate, those kind of diets. They'll have, it's simple, a protein and a vegetable. It's not that hard. Everybody makes it so hard. It's not that hard.
Right. And the other dimension of this is proportion. So how much are you putting on that plate and how much are you consuming? And I think that ties into the whole idea of the American diet versus like the Mediterranean or what have you. And in America, we believe that to be well fed, you have a lot of food on your plate. And that's a little bit skewed because that food has to go somewhere. So how would you respond to that with proportions and how to manage your proportions?
That comes right back to the whole eating to live thing, right? Versus living to eat. So what I find is that for myself, and I can only speak for me, when I'm eating my healthy foods, I don't want a big portion of food. Yeah. But when we're eating this carby, white flour filled garbage food, what's happening is we're never getting nourished. Mm-hmm. There are people who eat tons of food and they're malnourished.
Yes.
They're overweight and they're malnourished. Yeah. And that's because of what they're eating, not how much. And when you start eating healthy, everything changes. Like everyone that I've worked with so far, they're just like, oh my God, I stopped eating this or that. I started losing weight. My skin gets better. Like I just turned 50 this year and I feel good about it. So, and everything starts changing for them. And then they feel more inspired and motivated to eat even better. Right? And when they eat the junk, they know it. They're aware now. They're like, oh my gosh, I just ate that junk. Oh, that bite, it's terrible. And they want to do it again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because there's certain things we're not designed to eat. And when your body has to struggle to digest and it has to struggle to process the food you put in it, then you know that something is a bit off with that selection.
People don't even understand how many systems in our body are regulated through the stomach. Our immune system, our hormones, all of that's regulated in the stomach. We have a whole microbiome in the stomach. We are like more bacteria and fungus and virus than we are human cells. It's amazing. The microbiome is fascinating. So everything that we do to the microbiome, all the sugar creates dysbiosis in the stomach. So that means it throws the microbiome off. Too much yeast, which is what happened to me. Like the sugar fed the yeast in the stomach. And the next thing you know, I had overgrowth of yeast in the stomach and I was deathly ill. So we are so regulated by our stomachs. And the more that people abuse the stomach with all of this crap, like the thought of drinking a soda turns my stomach. And I tell my friends, what are you doing? And then they're like, oh, because Veronica comes around, they're like, oh my God, here's Veronica. We can't let her see that we're drinking or eating this stuff. But then they'll go after the diet soda, which is no better. You've got aspartame in there, which is deadly. I mean, you really have to be vigilant in what you put into your body. It's super important.
And the thing about it too, Veronica, and this brings us to the other level of this discussion as well, the fact that we may want to avoid gluten or certain dairy products or the sugars, but there's some artificial sugars and sweeteners and products that are worse than the original thing itself. So it's also understanding what you're replacing something with and making sure the replacement is, as you said before, nourishing you.
Yes.
That's
And they've come a long way with sweeteners. And I know that some people demonize the sweeteners, and some of them deserve to be demonized. Like aspartame has caused so many undiagnosed illnesses in people. It's off the chart. Like, and the moment they take the aspartame out of the diet, like within a month, they're like spontaneous healing. It's amazing.
yeah.
But there are, like, I use a kinesiology person, it's applied kinesiology. So they test you with products. And I've been with a kinesiology person for 20 some years. She actually is the one that found my illness. And I attribute my being here today to her, because I was probably on my way to a deadly cancer and she'd not found what was going on with my body, because I had abused my body for a long time, even holistically. I mean, I would sit and eat a bag of pretzels and a block of cheese and not think twice about it, drink 2 gallons of milk a week. So I was killing myself. I didn't even know it. So I lost my train of thought.
Well, you were talking about the kinesiologist who did an assessment.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the kinesiology person. So they test me with products. They test me with my supplements. I don't take any supplements unless I'm tested with them. Because there's a lot of supplements out there, and there's also a lot of fillers and a lot of there's not a lot of quality assurance on supplements. So I'm really particular about my supplements. Same with my sweeteners. So I took all of my sweeteners in little bags to be tested with me, and the sweeteners that tested well for me were monk fruit sweetener, tested good. Allulose actually tested good. Allulose is very expensive though. Swerve mix of brown sugar tasted really good. That one tested good for me. I used to test well with liquid sucralose, which was an easy sweets, but I had used that for a period of time and my body's wanting to take a break from it, so it didn't test well for me this time. And I do frequently recheck with these things to make sure. And also erythritol, which they mix into the monk fruit, actually tested well for me. So I say find a local person. I know that we have a local doctor who does blood work to test that as well. So there's lots of ways that you can find out which sweeteners are okay for you. And they also have stevia. They have stevia blends. They have stevia blended with monk fruit. I mean, there's a million ways that you can do it. And you can test yourself, like once you're a little bit more proficient and you understand applied kinesiology, because I test myself with things as well. But best to go to a practitioner originally and bring them, whatever sweeteners you plan on using, and make sure that that they're good for your body. Or you could tell, pay attention to your body. If you get super gassy when you eat it, or your stomach hurts, then obviously you don't want to do that. And self-awareness is a huge thing too. And Emily, I'm sure you know about this. Like, if you eat something and it doesn't feel good to eat it, then don't eat it anymore. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But we shove this stuff in our face. Oh, I love the taste of that chocolate cake. That I know if I eat a chocolate cake made the regular way with gluten, that later on in the evening, I will have the worst, tightest pain in my stomach. It's not a run to the bathroom kind of problem like some people have. It will be painful for the entire evening until the next day. And so I choose not to do that, right? I go, oh, that cake looks really good, but nah, it's not worth it for me to eat that. And I'll go home and find a way to make it my way so that I can have it whenever I want.
Yes. So it's really expanding our outlook tremendously on how to look at your food and the importance that this is the ultimate fuel for yourself. It's all about supercharging, and your diet is really fundamental. And we had one of our other a supercharger a few months ago, Cyrilla Valmaja. She also highlighted some importance of dieting and how you eat. And I encourage people to watch the different supercharged episodes, because they kind of speak to each other and reinforce a message, but the importance of what you eat and making that a priority in your life, not just whatever you find in the fridge, but you you organize yourself in such a way that whatever is in your refrigerator is something worth having. So could you share a little bit more about the prepping? I'm really curious about just a little teaser, because I know you're going to do a program on that, but what are some basics we should know?
Well, for prepping, I just want to add too, because I've had people say to me, Veronica, you spend so much money on like supplements and food, or they'll say, organic food is so expensive and blah, blah, blah. And I will just say this, and just keep this little nugget in mind. It's far more expensive to pay the medical bills. It's far more expensive to have the mental anguish of feeling sick all the time. And I know that because I was super sick for a long time before we figured it out and I was able to fix it with food. So keep in mind, there is no greater investment than your health.
Yes.
And that's what I say about that. So back to prepping. So prepping can be really, really easy. And if you, and you're a vegetarian, so obviously you're going to want to pick things, and vegetables are a little different too, because not all vegetables can be frozen. I've found that once I cook them, some things are just not good when I freeze them. So if you're going to prep for vegetarian, you want to make sure you just prep enough for the week, because they should be fine for the week in the refrigerator, and you can just grab containers and go. Yeah. But what I like to do is I would even cut up vegetables ahead of time. So I'd have carrot sticks or celery sticks, and I could just grab the almond butter and some celery sticks, or the cashew butter and some celery sticks, and have a snack that was actually nourishing and would fill me up. Because those nut butters are so good for you, obviously if you're not allergic to nuts, and you could have that as a quick snack and it will actually nourish your body. It has good healthy fats. The nuts are really good for you, or an avocado, things like that you can keep around that you can make super quick. But as far as prepping goes, you could take, like I've made like quinoa, they make like quinoa flakes that you can make into a cereal. And there's also, like, if you eat the rices, if you eat the grains, you can do brown rice cereal, oats. I always do steel cut oats. You make a batch of them, and I make like a big vat of them, and it'll make me like 8 small containers of the oats, and I put them in the freezer. I'll put 2 in the fridge, put 3 in the freezer, and then I just add a little bit of milk to one, put some nuts on it, or put some low sugar cranberries. You could add flaked coconut, unsweetened flaked coconut, whatever you want, but you have that base already set. So if you're in a hurry in the morning, you can just pop one of those out, heat it up real quick, put your stuff in it, and cinnamon, and you could do cinnamon in one of your sweeteners. I mean, they have the brown sugar by Swerve is really close to brown sugar. I mean, it's super expensive, don't get me wrong, but it is, if you can't have sugar, and think of all the diabetics, right, that, need to get away from the sugar, because the insulin's not that much better for you either. I've seen some photographs that are pretty grotesque of what happens when people have to keep injecting their body with insulins as well. Now, obviously, I'm not saying don't take your insulin. What I'm saying is start monitoring your diet, because I've seen miracles happen.
Yeah, to reverse it.
Yeah,
absolutely,
it's unbelievable.
To reverse it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have prep days?
It depends. Like usually, I would try to do it on a weekend day. Like I'll take one weekend day and make like a bulk of things. So I'll do like I like one pot wonders, or do the Instapot soup. I love to mix different soups. Or I'll make like a meat dish, and I just make enough of it to where it's going to make 4 or 5 meals, and then I just put everything away. And then what will happen is, like, say Monday I don't feel like cooking, the day before I have taken something out, but Tuesday I might want to cook, so I'll cook a whole meal with a couple other things, and then I just pack up some of those and put them in the freezer. Now I have extra stuff. Maybe don't cook for a couple more days, and then when I do cook something, I overcook and add that to the freezer and take, so you're always rotating food. And now you still have a variety. You're eating all different things. You're not eating the same thing every day. And you always have a stock of decent, food healthy to eat in your freezer and your refrigerator for yourself. And desserts too. I do it with my breads. Like I make the best breads ever. I made an apple cinnamon pecan, grain-free, gluten-free, sugar-free, and dairy-free. It is off the chain. My sweet potato bread, same thing. My pumpkin bread, my zucchini breads, and I made carrot cake that will blow your mind with a cream cheese frosting, and it's all gluten, dairy, sugar-free, grain-free. I mean, it's ridiculous, but that is divine. It comes out of nowhere.
So how do we gain access to these delicious products? Your bread, your zucchini cakes, etc.
Well, some of them are going to be on my television show. I have a television show coming called Eating with V, and that's super exciting. I currently have a YouTube page that does have some older videos on it from when I was in my old rental. We were just doing them live, playing around, but they're fun, and there are some really good ones there. And then I'm going to be taking everything from the TV station and putting it onto the YouTube. But I do have a Facebook page right now where I post, ideas. Like when I'm making something, I make a dinner and I'll post it. Like if it's an after workout meal and it's just rotisserie chicken with some vegetables, it just gives people an ideas of things that they could eat just to fuel their body instead of like, living to eat. So they can just be like, oh, I feel hungry. I'm going to eat something healthy and now I'm done. So I have the YouTube page. I have been recently started to put things on Instagram because we all know it's like social media is like a husband. You have to give it a lot of time and attention. And I still have a lot of time and attention. So I've been getting better at that. And thanks to Emily, I've had some conversations with Emily where you are just a wealth of knowledge and information. And I just can't wait to spend more time with you. But that's the ways to get me right now. And I am considering getting the cottage license because there are some things that people are just like, they don't want to make them. People don't want to take the time to make them. The biggest challenge with my foods is that they're not inexpensive. Cashew flour and almond flour and flax flour and dairy-free cream cheese alone is $5 for a tiny little 8-ounce container. So they're not going to be cheap, but they will be nutritious and healthy, and you won't need as much of them, so they end up costing less in the long run anyway.
Yes. So tell us more about this television show of yours. Where's it going to air? How can people see it? Tell us more about it.
Oh, it's so exciting. This is like my dream come true because my goal, my vision, my big dream is to be able to touch the masses. Like whenever someone comes to me and says, oh my God, Veronica, you changed my life, but I didn't change your life. You changed your life, but I helped to show you the way maybe to change a few things that they were able to empower themselves, right? But it feels so good. So this has been my dream. And TV30 out of Vero Beach is taking on the show. And then they will air it 4 times. It's probably coming at the end of the summer. We had a little snafu with a video guy, but I got a new one and it's all on track again. So we're looking at the end of the summer, and it's going to air on Tuesdays and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., I believe, are the times. So it'll air 4 times that week, and then the actual show will be on my YouTube page. So if they miss it live, they can always see the replays on the YouTube page.
How wonderful. You said it was TV30 in Vero Beach?
Yes, they're supposed to be the only FCC certified, privately owned station on the Treasure Coast. But they'll stream it live from their website, and I believe anyone with a smart TV can stream it to their TVs.
Okay, excellent. And so everyone knows we're here on the Treasure Coast of Florida because we have an international audience. The Treasure Coast is on the East Coast, halfway between Miami and Orlando. And that's where you find us, Veronica and myself, right over here. Yes, but this is really exciting. So Veronica, how can people keep up with you? They can look out for your television show. They can join your Facebook page or follow you. What is your Facebook page that you like to share?
I actually, right now, my website is pointing to the Facebook page. So it's just eatingwithv.com, and you can get right to the Facebook page. And to the YouTube, you can type in youtube.com/eatingwithv, and it'll bring you right to my YouTube page as well.
Okay, wonderful. So make sure to follow you and subscribe to Eating with V on YouTube so you can see all the great recipes and exciting things that you have. And you also have a book Veronica, do you have a book that our superchargers can check out to learn more about the types of things you're talking about today and how they can
Yeah.
go deeper into some of these topics?
Yes. Now, Sarah Wilson is the I Quit Sugar lady, and she was one of our instructors in school. And I was enamored with her story. She had Hashimoto and was able to heal it by taking sugar completely out of her diet, which was miraculous. And she's very inspiring. She knows a lot about sugar and what it does to the body. She's a great educator. They can find her anywhere on YouTube. But she has a book called I Quit Sugar, and it's actually a complete 8-week detox program. Looks like this. And so she teaches people how to take the sugar out of their diet in just 8 weeks and to be able to, and she does it without substitutions because she shows you like the fructose, even in fruit, you know, we're talking about mangoes and pineapples and all these high sugar fruits, like diabetics can't even eat bananas because they're so high in sugar. But the low glycemic fruits are all the berries, blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, blackberry. You have green apple, you have kiwi. Like these are the low glycemic fruits, the things that, yes, you don't want to sit there and eat 80 pounds of fruit, but they're a lower glycemic load to the body than something like a papaya or pineapple or mango and bananas.
Exactly. Yeah, very good. Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention to people that I always believe you want to have when we talk about supercharged foods, foods that are good for your brains, for your brain. So like berries, blueberries, all the berries, walnuts for me. I know you said your mom can't have walnuts, but if you can have walnuts, walnuts are wonderful, good for your brain. And anything that boosts brain power, I'm very much into to reinforce your support that muscle because it really is it's what's using up a lot of your energy or your thinking, so you really have to nourish your brain very well.
And healthy fats.
Yes.
People need that. People have demonized fats so badly, and it's not the fat.
No,
it's not
totally.
the fat. Avocados are a beautiful source of fat if you eat avocados. And if you don't eat avocados, I make an avocado mousse, avocado chocolate mousse. And my best friend in the world hates avocado with a passion. Every time she sees an avocado, she's like, and she will eat my chocolate mousse like crazy.
Wow.
Greatest testimonial to the chocolate mousse because this woman hates avocado, but I can get them into her with the chocolate mousse.
Incredible. Incredible. And you know what I love about it is this is creativity. I know there's some wonderful like chefs and again being vegetarian, vegan chefs, whatever people like, but just speaking things you can do creatively with food, with vegetables. I know when I used to live in Mexico, I the indigenous like Indian Mexicans, they cook in such a way that using fruits and vegetables that flavors you would never even imagine could be possible. And it's magnificent, from like the flower of the pumpkin, they call it flor de calabaza and things like that, that you chop it up with onions and you eat it and it's wonderful. So it's really expanding and also being exposed to how other people and how other cultures eat really expands your own imagination and creativity as well in coming up with cool recipes and funky things that you might maybe never have thought of before, to really make it an exciting experience.
From the earth, you know what I mean? Notice they're eating from the earth. They're eating real food.
Real food. Absolutely.
Yeah, if it can live on a shelf for 20 years, it is not real food.
And you know what, Veronica, the thing is when you get accustomed to eating good quality food, it's very hard to go back to anything that's processed. And as I said, from my experience, when I did live in Mexico for all those years, I would had such natural food. I couldn't even go into a supermarket again. I can't buy packaged bread again. But lo and behold, back to America, we kind of fall back into these patterns. But the point is, when you are exposed to it, you will know the difference. And the fact that there is a difference and it makes a difference to your body.
Yes. And you feel it. You'll feel it. If I eat something, and nobody eats perfect. I'll tell you right now, if I decide one day I want some French fries, I'm gonna have some French fries, and I post it on my Facebook page. Look, I'm eating French fries because nobody eats perfectly every moment of the day. So people, a lot of times, they fall off the wagon and they're like, "Oh, I just can't do it." You can do it if you just take little things and change them. If you drink 5 sodas a day and you come down to 1 soda a day, that's a huge win, and you're going to see a huge difference in your body. Huge. If you
Yes.
normally drink 1 soda a day, maybe take the soda out and exchange it for water and see what happens just from that 1 soda a day. If you eat cookies and packaged food, try not to buy those. Get some carrot chips that they make like little chips. They look like ridge chips, and you can dunk them in stuff. I mean, you can cut up fresh vegetables, and I do it with cucumbers and everything, and I can use them as my chips, or get coconut chips or some kind of something different. There's so many amazing food companies coming out now. It warms my heart. I'm in awe of
Yes.
all of the amazing foods that are coming out today. It's amazing.
It is incredible. And again, it's also, like you said, culture. People will, that's what I was brought up to eat, and that's what my parents ate. Well, that may be what they ate, but that doesn't mean you cannot take it to another level now. And the beauty of the options are available. So being open, I really think why this is so important is, number one, it gives people choices. Each person is responsible for making their choice over what they're going to decide they want to eat. However, understand what those choices mean. That's the key. So don't come complaining when this is going on, because you refuse to stop eating whatever, and then you wonder why. So now we're telling you why, and if you make the choice to continue, well, then understand what that means. That's really what this is about. You have to make a choice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I want to give you guys a quick tip on the labels too, because they've actually they've updated the food labels so that now you can see the hidden sugars better. So when you're looking at a label, a food label, you can go down to total sugars, and it's amazing because not many people understand the label. Go to total sugars, it'll tell you how many total sugars in there. And the line right underneath should say total added sugars. So if it's total of 12 sugars and added sugars are 10, then you'll know that maybe there's some natural fruit sugar or the natural sugar from the rice or whatever is in there, and how many sugars they've added. And keep in mind, for every 4 grams of sugar, you're looking at approximately a teaspoon of sugar. So when you get your little thing from your yogurt that's this big and it says 20 grams of sugar, there's 5 teaspoons of sugar in this yogurt right here.
Right.
So keep that in mind. And also look at serving size. That's so important, because you could get a bag of chips, and this bag of chips says there's 8 grams of sugar. So you 2 teaspoons of sugar in 1 serving, but there's 4 servings in the bag, and the bag is this big. So you multiply that 4 times 4, now you have 16 grams of sugar if you eat that whole bag, right? So size, important. How many servings are in the container, serving size, and go to the sugars and look at the added sugars. And then you can see in the ingredient, there are 76 names or so for sugar. And I'm actually going to post that to my Facebook page so people can see that. But there are, you can see in one label, it'll say cane sugar, honey, rice syrup. There'll be 6 different sugars in that one package. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So those are things that people can look at on the label. Like, I'm always picking up label. Like, this is me. I read every label before.
Right.
Yeah. So pay attention to that. Every 4 grams that you see equates to approximately 1 teaspoon of sugar.
Okay. So there's so much here too, so many things to be aware of. But thank you so much, Veronica. We're coming down to winding up our time, but this has been so great, insightful. And thank you for sharing these different perspectives with us so that we can supercharge our eating in a whole new way.
Yay!
Yes, and we'll look.
I appreciate so much that you had me on.
Yes, Veronica, this is fantastic. And so people can look out for Veronica's upcoming TV show, Eating with V, and you'll see more about that in the blog post. We'll link to all the things that she's doing so you can watch her and so forth. And if you have any questions while you're watching this, we'll come back afterwards and respond. So we appreciate any comments people put. So please, everybody, this is here, going to be on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Please subscribe to my Emily channel, like, share, comment. Let us know one of your any top takeaways from today that Veronica shared that really impacted you or had an impact on you. Let us know in the comments. Let us know what that was. Let us know what that thing is you're going to change or do differently with your eating that might help you to be better. And I invite you all to my upcoming mastermind group. You're going to be hearing more about that. Stay tuned. My mastermind retreat, helping our entrepreneurs with the ABCs, avoiding burnout, building solid businesses, and caring for yourself. So our topic today really ties in with that. So stay tuned for more on that. So again, thank you everyone for watching. And again, great thanks to Veronica.
Thank you.
For being here. And everybody, in the meantime, you know what to do. Stay supercharged. See you next time.